everyone, I'm Nidhi. I'm a first year medical student at GMC Aurangabad. Today with us here we have a very special guest who's going to tell us everything about her MBBS journey. So I would like to welcome Ms Priya Bansal. She is a final year medical student at LHMC Delhi. LHMC is a very prestigious institute in New Delhi and it is known to be an all girls medical college. So, Miss Priya Bansal first gave NEET in 2017. She then took a drop year and then she again appeared for NEET in 2018, where she scored really well and got an All India rank of 4005. So, today she's going to come here and share her story with us.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming to my channel.
Thank
Thanks
you
a
for
lot.
calling.
So, should we start?
Sure.
LHMC is known to be an all-girls college, right? So, yes. So, how exactly has your life changed after you got into LHMC?
Right. So just a little preface. In my school times, I was this typical nerd kid, and I was not liked by my batchmates at all. I was this kid who would go complain to the class teacher if people were making noise in the class or people were swearing about, and I was not popular in school. And LHMC has really, I think, turned me 180. My best friend, who's my best friend since school times, and he's currently a final year MBBS student at UCMS. He tells me that in school you were this whole different person. He's glad that he didn't talk to me in school. And LHMC, first thing that I feel is very body positive. There is no criticism for the kind of clothes you wear. There's no criticism for the way you look. They all accept you for who you are. And I am somebody who's very shy with compliments. I don't know how to take compliments to this day. And my batchmates know it. So whenever I've, put in a little bit of an effort into dressing up, they'll all come to me, they'll give me compliments, and I'll be like, yeah, okay, theek hai, go away. And they'll come again and they'll come again till the time I'm like, okay, fine, I agree, I look nice. Just please, okay, relax. That is one thing which I really, really like about LHMC. Another thing is that LHMC gives you a lot of opportunities, I feel, especially in terms of co-curriculars and taking charge for a lot of things. In my first year, the college fest was happening, and they have these bhaiyas who put up those tents for the fest area.
Yes.
They have these really long ladders made out of wood, and one of the seniors told me that you go and tell that bhaiya to do something. And I couldn't find a bhaiya, so I took the stair. I climbed it myself and I did the job. And I'm like, there is no question about a masculine job here or a feminine job here. We are all females. We have to do all the work ourselves, and that is something which I feel gives you a new perspective. It's it helps you build a personality where you're not dependent on people to do something for you just because you think that it's not my job. I know that everything happening in my college fest is my job, from organizing the workers to doing the tent work to fighting for the washrooms to be empty and clean. That's all on me. So that is another thing.
So, it has made you more independent, you can say.
I do agree with that.
Ma'am, medical students find this life very stressful, obviously. So, how do you take care of your mental health? And like, do you get time to pursue your hobbies?
Not really, especially since I'm in final year. Time is something which is very precious. It's very hard to come by a free time in medical, in final year, especially. However, I do think that mental health should take priority for people. In my batch, a lot of girls are diagnosed with, a lot of my friends. I'm sorry, I say girls because it's an all girls college. Yeah, so a lot of batchmates are diagnosed with several mental disorders. Somebody has depression, somebody has bipolar disorder, a lot of things. And I think the main thing is that everyone is so cluttered with responsibilities. पढ़ाई भी है, घर का भी देखना है, and you have some external shouting on you, you have some posting going on, and it's a lot to take in. And the sad thing is that we are all overachievers. We all medicos are toppers and overachievers, and we cannot accept the fact that we are not able to do this well. So I think it's important to take a break at times and to focus on some amount of things. You cannot really fix everything in one day. You need to take one day off, go visit your family, then take another day off, maybe study that day. Third day, you can, catch up with your friends. But it needs to be done at a pace which you are comfortable with. Uh, Mental health is a priority. We've heard a lot of cases of people, taking up steps which they shouldn't have, or we wish we could have prevented that. But it all comes in after something has happened. After we lose somebody, we think that, oh, I wish I would have talked to her, or oh, I wished I would have listened to him when he was crying. But it's something which we need to inculcate in our daily practice, because that's the only way it can make a difference. As far as I am concerned, I find reading to be very therapeutic for me.
Yes.
So whenever I find time, especially in the starting of any posting, I pick up usually a thriller novel to fulfill all the murder fantasies that I have for the people. And it's something I feel that relaxes me. Yes, it gives me a lot of stress also, because I could have been reading daily instead of this. I could have been
Right.
reading Harrison instead of this, but it's okay. I mean, I've made my peace with it that I cannot be studying all the time, and I need something to focus, and I need a break. So that is something that you need to realize for your own self.
Hmm. So it is important to take breaks every now and then. Yes.
Definitely.
Since you were a dropper, can you give some tips to those who would be taking a drop? And can you share your story with us?
Sure. So I'll do the story part first. My first attempt was in 2017. I had been a student at Akash Janakpuri branch. It's very close to my house for around 4 years, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. And I mean, I tried to keep up with the coursework, but I was honestly not able to with school and everything. And being a school topper, you have that expectation. School mein you can't really give up on a single test also, because then the teachers will know. Then they'll call your parents. कि क्या हो गया पढ़ क्यों नहीं रही आजकल ये? And those are not questions I want to answer. I don't want to answer any questions, honestly. So yeah, that was there, and it was kind of difficult. Uh, the day the result came, I think I had some 31,000 rank AIR in 2017 attempt, and I was sure कि इसमें तो कुछ होना नहीं है. That very day, my parents took me back to Akash, and they're like, "You go there for another year, and then we'll talk about it." And I told them, of course, that I want to give it one another shot, and that I did. And I think what made a lot of difference in my drop year from my first attempt was a lot of free time that I had. I did not do a partial drop or anything. It was a complete drop where I was at home or I was at Akash. There was no in between. And I got a rank of 4005 in the second attempt. And I got in LHMC in the first round itself, first round counseling. For the droppers, I feel that a lot of droppers self-victimize themselves. हमें तो drop लेना पड़ रहा है, हमसे एक बारी में हुआ नहीं. If we were not able to crack it in the first attempt, maybe we don't deserve it. But I feel that's absolutely wrong, because droppers have the biggest advantage of time and physics knowledge. You are spending more time than the freshers did, of course, and you have a very sound knowledge. Like, I had a 30K rank. I mean, it's not at all good, of course, but it was something. I mean, I did clear that cutoff. It wasn't like I didn't know anything. So I had that knowledge. कि, okay, ठीक है. Out of maybe 100 chapters, I know at least 10 of them. So it's okay. I'm not at the zero level. So that is one thing which we all should, at least the droppers should realize, that they have an advantage. And if you work on it, if you practice, and if you actually give up on the fear factor of especially physics, subjects like physics,
Yeah.
it does make a lot of difference. I give this anecdote to a lot of people. In my first attempt, like before the first attempt, we had this AIATS thing going on. I think it was All India Past Test Series. So in one particular exam, they took like 720 marks ka pura exam. And I think the topic was oscillation and waves in physics. I don't remember the other chapters and other subjects, but it was the end of 11th. And in physics, I got 9 out of 180, which is very horrible. I got a lot of scolding from my parents that this is not why we are spending so much money on you. And it's not like I didn't know the chapter, I didn't know the questions. It was just that I was so scared of physics कि ये तो नहीं हो रही है मुझसे, हो भी नहीं सकती है, पता नहीं क्या पूछते रहते हैं, and it's not coming straight out of the book. So I was not able to do it. And in my drop year, I promise I did not, miraculously study 20 hours a day or something. It was all going very normal teachers. I was not in the HOD batch or anything. And in that same test, which happened next year, same chapters, oscillation waves, I had, I think, 165 out of 180 in just in physics. And that was more than the total I had last year in that very same exam. So I think that gave me a lot of perspective. Ki it's okay, I took a drop. In fact, it's better that I took a drop. I'm at peace with myself and I know that I can do it. And just in case this attempt also doesn't work out, I know that I tried my best. So that is something I think we should all clinch on. Give your best effort, and if it comes to you, good for you. If it doesn't, then you're made for better things, honestly.
Okay. Ma'am, in one of your Quora answers, I've read that you're an introvert. So, how should introverts actually deal with this profession? Because here you have to like communicate with a lot of people and patients. So, any tips for
Introverts
introverts?
keep, yes, introverts keep to themselves, but I don't think introverts are bad communicators. Uh, but yes, when you go into the wards, when you talk to the patients, that's where you learn this skill. Especially since, in our colleges, in Delhi colleges, Hindi is the language that most patients speak. And I've always been in an English school. I was not confident in Hindi and uh, history taking in Hindi and using Hindi terminologies. So that is something which comes with practice, of course. Introverts are not at any disadvantage because they're introverts. But yes, they do need to work a little more than extroverts. We are not very confident we'll just go and approach any patient. I usually push forward my friends. Can you just go take consent from that patient? And I take the history. It's okay. I'm good at taking history. I can ask the patient my questions. But that awkward interaction that sir या मैम या भैया भाभी जो भी है आपसे कुछ सवाल पूछेंगे आप थोड़ा सा समय दे सकते हैं, that is very awkward for me. I cannot do that. So mostly when we are in classes, we are a group of people tagging along. But in exams, you have to speak. And I feel that once you come in final year or you've been to a lot of postings, you learn the little, tricks and tips on how to convince the patient to listen to you. So my latest one is that अभी देखो बड़े डॉक्टर साहब ने मुझे भेजा है, मैं देखूंगी बड़े डॉक्टर साहब को बताऊंगी तभी वो आपको देखेंगे, तो आप मुझे चुपचाप से बता दो सब कुछ. Because otherwise they're not very convinced. I do feel that as a physician you need to generate confidence in your patient, and not very easy to do for introverts because we're like bhaiya please history de do, bhaiya please examine karne do. But yes, once you use tricks like this कि बड़े डॉक्टर साहब ने बोला है या अभी ये जांच करनी है आपकी फटाफट से जल्दी जल्दी करा दो, so it they do agree most of the times.
Okay. So the next question is, what do you think about DAMS, Marrow, and PrepLadder? Is it required for first year students?
Right. No, absolutely not. It's not required for first year students. I feel that a lot of students, when they come in, they get into this rat race ki NEET PG bhi karna hai, USMLE bhi karna hai. But honestly, it doesn't really make a lot of difference. I don't remember what I read in first year. I absolutely do not. And had I used a platform, I am pretty sure even then I wouldn't remember a lot of it. Lot of anatomy and biochem and physiology that you remember comes from the applied aspects that you learn in the senior years. So in surgery, when I'm reading surgery nowadays, I keep on revising anatomy, and that's how it actually makes sense to me. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense that this branch has so many branches and so many branches. It's all jargon. But I do think that since a lot of since the competition is increasing day by day, and there are a lot of people buying stuff, and there is this general FOMO of I'll be left behind, and if I don't do this, then when will I do this? So I think people can go for individual subjects, which is available with PrepLadder. That's one way to opt out of the commitment of taking a 80,000 package for 3 years or 4 years. I think that's the price going for Marrow these days. But definitely no offline classes for first and second year. Offline classes make sense when you are able to integrate your various subjects. There's no point in going for a discussion of biochem when you don't know that there are glycogen storage disorders and there are other diseases that can manifest in medicine, and how do they manifest and how do you solve clinical vignettes with them. There is no point giving time to such things when you can actually be enjoying yourselves. honestly.
Okay.
But yes, if you want to take up, I would just say ki, there are a lot of platforms out there these days, and a lot of them have some pros, some cons. Everyone will have cons. And rather than going for something that everyone is going for, just go for what you think will suffice for you.
Okay.
So, what I did when I was taking up a coaching, I took Marrow in third year. I watched a lot of videos on YouTube from all the platforms. So for like ENT, I saw ENT sample videos from Marrow, from PrepLadder, from DAMS, from Hatia, since in Delhi we have offline classes also. And I think one more platform, I think Unacademy or something. And then I decided that yes, Marrow ka ENT is very, very nice. I'm going to go forward with that. So I think that should be the approach. And that's why I say that you can go for individual subjects that are available with PrepLadder. Or some teachers do have their individual apps also. But do always, matlab, you always have to make sure that you read the books. It should not be the second priority in your list to read the standard books, because those actually build up your habits. If you haven't read Guyton, you'll find it very hard to read Robbins. And if you cannot read Robbins, you cannot read Harrison's or even Davidson for that matter. So that is something that you build upon in your years, and maybe that's why a lot of oldies, if you ask them, oldies being me and my seniors, uh, that we do not really prefer a lot of coaching options for the first year. We do not advise it to first year, because we feel that if you do that, you'll stop reading books. And if you stop reading books, then God save you. You cannot pass the exams. Another thing is that these coaching platforms, while they're very amazing, I use it all the time, but they do not give you a lot of clinical input. And sure, they can make videos on clinical examination and stuff, but if you haven't ever felt how a hepatosplenomegaly feels on examination, how that margin of liver can be appreciated, how can that grainy texture of spleen actually feels on your fingertips, there is no point of watching clinical videos. So that is something that should be encouraged. You should go to wards. You're still in first year, so that's okay. Like second year onwards, you start your postings. But yes, if you have wards and OPDs and you have people willing to teach you there, especially JRs, they are the only people who will be willing to teach you, at least here. So you should take up that opportunity, because what they give you is something that you will not find in books. There are a lot of nits and tricks, this particular test needs to be done only in standing position. The book will just write this much, but nobody will tell you why. And if you don't know why, see, there are so many tests, you'll always forget which was in standing, which was in sitting, supine, lithotomy. But if you know why, that answers a lot of queries. So go in wards, go in OPDs, and never be afraid of doing things that you think, are above your scope. ECG is above your scope, sure, but just pick up that ECG paper. At least try to read the heart rate, the rhythm, you can tell if it's regular or irregular. That actually builds up your habits. Same goes for X-rays. It's okay if you don't understand what is lucency and opacity and what are the hilar lymph nodes, margins, etc. It's okay, but at least you'll be able to appreciate if you someday come across a enlarged kidney on an X-ray. You can see the kidney shadow on X-rays, or if you come across overinflated lungs on X-rays. If you have seen enough X-rays, you can appreciate it on any X-ray. So that is something that does build up with time. So that is the only advice.
Okay. So you're saying that if someone does want to take any coaching, then they should like opt for just single subjects, not the entire plan.
They can opt for wholesome platforms like DAMS or Marrow also. In fact, I really like Marrow's first year. Second year, not so much. Third year, it's very decent.
As a medical student, how does it feel to come from a non-medical family?
I think it has both the good parts and the bad parts. Bad parts being that I had nobody to guide me, and it does feel a little weird because people are expecting कि ये तो बहुत ज़्यादा कमाएगी, and nobody knows the grim reality, and nobody understands how difficult it is to push yourself forward to study every day, because it gets redundant at one point. It feels like I've read this, but I still cannot recall this. So bad parts are there, but there are a lot of good points. First and foremost, being that I can get away with a lot of things. My batchmates who come from medico families, they are, they're told by their parents that you have to read Bailey, you have to read Harrison, you have to read Robbins. And I can do away with shorter books, nobody will know.
Yeah.
I get a lot of respect and envy from the cousins, of course. And a lot of people will keep sending me reports ki ye pad do. And most of the time I cannot make sense of it because there are very, like CT scan reports and stuff like that. So I, take that opportunity to text a senior or text a PG ki sir, can you please help me out with this? So that is also a learning opportunity. A lot of people come at my home and then they're like, पेट में दर्द हो रहा है जरा देखना. So I get to examine these people also. So that's, any medical exposure is good medical exposure. So that is also there. But yes, good and bad parts both.
Yes. Do you have any special message for female medical students?
Yes, coming from a all girls college, thankfully I have not seen a lot of gender-based discrimination in my college since, who you'll discriminate against, will eat you up.
Yeah.
And but I have heard from friends in different colleges that there exists a lot of discrimination. Even in our colleges, when we have our final exams and there are externals coming in, you'll find somebody saying, हमारे समय में तो लड़कियां साड़ियां पहन के आती थी and इन बच्चों को देखो ये तो मतलब ऐसे जीन्स टॉप में उठ के आ जाते हैं. And I'm like, we haven't slept in 2 days. Please cut us some slack. It's okay. Right? साड़ी पहन के कौन वाइवा देगा? But it's okay. I mean, you can't really do much about that. But as female students, you should always know that, you are allowed to have a self-respect and you are allowed to have your own bodily autonomy. You are not supposed to give in to harassment like this. If somebody says something to you which is mean, you should take up a step against it. And I've seen it in my college also. I won't say that it's perfect and nothing happens. There are random incidents here and there where some SR or some PG said something to a student. And thankfully, since, we are all girls, we find a lot of girls who will support you or who will say कि, हाँ मेरे साथ भी किसी ने कुछ ऐसे बोला था या कुछ करा था. And most of the times we do complain to the HOD or to the administration, and steps have always been taken there. The people have, been removed from the units or they've been removed from the teaching duties. That has happened. But again, you need to speak up for it. Nobody's going to know that you're going through something if you're not speaking up about it. Another thing is that there is this myth, or you might even say it's a age-old story that there are some departments which are very male-dominated. Like if I mention surgery is very male-dominated, ortho is male-dominated. You won't find a lot of female PGs and SRs. And if you go in these departments, not all units, but some weird person there will say, कि तुम्हें तो ऑब्स गाइनी लेना है, तुम क्यों आती हो यहाँ पे? In ortho or in surgery or some other units also. But the thing is, you need to learn. And it's not like I've told them I want to take obs gynae. They'll just assume that since, you're a girl, you should take up obs gynae or you should take up pathology and, put more hours in home and not really in hospital. So you do come across these kind of comments, but you should know that, if you're interested, you should go for it. In surgery, they say that there are not a lot of female people. But in my surgery unit, there is this SR, there is this assistant professor, and they are so dynamic people. They are so dynamic, even ortho people are scared of them. I mean, I can't think of a better example than that. And, once you learn how to put up with these people and you learn how to cut that bullshit, you can really, really, improve yourself. And these days, thankfully, I'm seeing a lot of females in surgery. We do have, I think, 2 or 3 female faculty in ortho, not pretty sure about that. But yes, it's a good chance. And the same thing goes for male students also. Male students are usually told that, don't take obs gynae. And I think we do have one professor in obs gynae who's a male. And they are usually the people who know a lot because, they are discriminated against. So they know that they don't have anybody to fall back on. They have just their own skills and their own brains. So these people are usually very good at teaching. You should take that opportunity to go learn from them and just treat them with respect and do what you want to do. Don't be scared of people. There is nothing anybody can do to you if you are confident enough and if you have parents who will support you through it. And even if you do not have that, I know that a lot of people are scared, घर में पता चल जाएगा if I raise my voice, if I say something to somebody that कि मेरे साथ कुछ हुआ, घर में पता चल जाएगा and वो कुछ कर लेंगे या कॉलेज छुड़वा देंगे या बहुत ज्यादा restrictions लगा देंगे. But if that is the case scenario, you should have some or the other support system, be it teachers, be it friends, be it your hostel warden, whoever you find uh, is approachable enough and is helpful enough. But you should always have some backup, and you should be vigilant.
Yeah. Okay. And how do you deal with toxic people in your medical college? In your batch mostly.
In my batch, see, I honestly do not find a lot of toxic people in my batch. Maybe because they are, I'm not saying they are not toxic, but they are not toxic to me because I've always been a very low key person. I am friends, and I do not invest too much in people, and I do not expect a lot of investment back from them. But yes, of course, there are some people who will use you and who will play stupid little mind games with you. I think the best answer is to ignore them. I mean, I cannot be spending my time, which is already very limited, on people like these and on, making sure that I am even with them. And I just do not have that kind of mental space with me. And I think that's taking the high road because, why should I talk to them? Why should I be the one person to deal with them? So while there are toxic people, there are toxic friends, what you call these days saps and snakes and stuff like that. Ignore them because you cannot change them, you cannot change a person's personality. They are like that, they will be like that. And at times it might be like you are finding them toxic, but that's just on you. Maybe it's your interpretation of them. So
Right.
ignoring is the best option. Of course, if somebody is harassing you or somebody is being mean to you, go fight. And I've done that. I've done that with seniors also. I've done that with juniors. I've done that with batchmates. Just don't put up with things that you will not let your friends put up with. Like, I know that if somebody said something like that to my friend, I will not be okay with it. I'll go fight. So why can I not fight for my own self when I know it's wrong what she said? So it's okay. I mean, I am not the person to tell you to go fight with seniors. But yes, if they are doing something wrong, you should always know how to speak up. And it's an important skill to learn in medical school, how to speak up against seniors. And I don't mean, going and, cussing them out or, you know, saying stuff that you'll regret or saying stuff that, actually can come back on you, but actually politely raising your point and being firm on it. That's something which comes with a lot of practice, I should say. But it should be done. I mean, there is no backing down on toxic seniors.
Hmm. Okay. So I would like to ask my last question now. Do you have any message for students who will be coming in this year?
Uh, so firstly, I think since there are a lot of junior batches now, since I'm, a pretty old medico now. So my advice might sound a little archaic, but I would again say that do not go for any coaching platform blindly. A lot of people these days are coming up with, plans for first years and plans for pre and paraclinical subjects. Take them if you want to, but don't take them because, you're getting a discount. I have heard this from a lot of juniors कि दीदी डिस्काउंट मिल रहा था तो हमने ले लिया एंड अभी ये समझ में नहीं आ रहा एंड वो रिफंड भी नहीं दे रहे हैं सो डू यू हैव दिस अनदर अकाउंट दैट आई कैन शेयर विद यू एंड आई मीन it's okay, but I mean, honestly, you could have been a better judge of that. So that is one very strong point I feel about. Do not go for any coaching platform blindly. Second will be to not let anybody harass you. These days, there are a lot of complaints of harassment, of ragging, of seniors and teachers and faculty member doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing. Raise up your voice against it. You have a lot of social media. You can always, just record them, share it on social media, and literally destroy them. Thirdly, I feel that new medicos, uh, that I know that you are coming with a very high, NEET score. I feel that's something that's making a lot of difference these days. The new kids that are coming in are coming with a very high scoring in NEET. But the rank does remain same with what was at our time. Like I was at rank 4005. And my juniors are also coming at the same rank, but the marks are abnormally high for them.
Okay.
And that is something which should not affect you, and that should not something which you should take to your head कि मैं तो इतने ज्यादा मार्क्स से आई थी कि मुझे किसी और की जरूरत नहीं है. Medical school is not a lone wolf game. It's not a lone ranger job. You cannot do it alone. You need a support system. You need friends, and you need to get out of that what I call a neat UG mentality. सब competitors हैं, मुझे सबसे आगे निकलना है. Doesn't work for you, because when you're in internship, you need some some co-intern to take up your chunk of the duty if you're busy. And when you're in final year, you want somebody to go get you food from the mess when you're sick. And if you are in that neat UG mentality, you're taking everyone to be your enemy or your competitor, you miss out on a lot of genuine connections. I mean, 20 years down the lane, nobody is going to remember my marks, but 20 years down the lane, they are probably going to remember that, yes, I helped them in that particular way. And, we are all going to be doctors. Maybe I'll be in some branch, you'll be in some branch. And if I someday need some medical advice pertaining to your branch, I'll obviously call you, because we, if we were able to build a good relationship that was not entirely built on, competitiveness and academic excellence, it will make a lot of difference.
Okay.
And another thing for the new students, please be respectful to your seniors. I know that you are very intelligent kids, but you do need a lot of guidance. Seniors being faculty and your college seniors, of course, but do not, of course, let anybody trouble you. And another thing that I feel is that take part in co-curriculars also. These days there is a lot of news of NEET UG and USMLE and other stuff that's happening next and stuff. So a lot of students are very worried about academics. They are not, willing to join societies. They're not willing to participate in fest because they feel कि पढ़ाई का time चला जाएगा. That's not the truth. You're still in first year. You're still not in first year, in fact. It's okay to take a break. You've come through a very grueling exam. You've got another grueling exam coming in 5 years. Give yourself a break, because if you burn out right now, your years ahead are going to be really difficult. So that's it.
Yes.
So I hope you learned a lot from this video, and I'm sure it was really helpful. I would like to thank Ms Priya Bansal for coming to my channel and giving her time. If you have any doubts, you can always mention them in the comments below. And if you think my video was good, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next Sunday with a new video. Till then, bye.